Right, guys, just waiting for a few people to join on. So just give it a couple of seconds. Wait for a few people to join on with us. Right, guys, so I'm going to start off, just say thanks to Clive. Clive reached out for me to join on the match fishing group to obviously have a chat with everybody and a little bit about myself. Quite a few people obviously will already know me from, out and about in fishing, and some maybe sort of members on our group as well. Just starting it off, obviously, it's a match fishing group, and I know there's going to be a lot of you thinking on there, oh, we've got him on, and he's not really a match fisherman, and I have done my fair share back in the days, but no, you are right. Now my days are spent. Pleasure. It's simple, really. The lockdown, everybody's been affected. We've been locked in. We're now out and about, and luckily for obviously everybody that's on this group, the match fishing has resumed, which is fantastic news, and there's a lot of great work being out there for people to get the match fishing going, and it's absolutely fantastic for the sport that people can get out there and match fish. I don't do match fishing as much as what I used to do. I have a job where I'm a chef, and a lot of the times that I could go match fishing on weekends were spent trolling away in a hotel cooking. So that's really why I don't do the match fishing scene as much as I used to in the past. Now, Clive has asked me, he wants me to just really go through a little bit about myself. And again, a lot of people on here will already know who I am or have heard of me and Angling for You. So I'm just going to start off with the questions that sort of Clive's asked me to look into, and that's what got me into fishing. Well, starting like a lot of people that'll be on here watching, it was my granddad. His love for fishing and being outdoors was infectious, and really sort of captured that from being a young age of 5. Sea fishing mainly, and then that sort of materialised onto club fishing, and I joined a club when I was 12 at Aitken Ponds, which is around where I live, and that is where my sort of match fishing started. It's a natural sort of mixed fishery where a really good match weight was around 40 or 50 pound, which means it was made up of a lot of eyed silverfish, skimmers, and things like that. Really before the commercial scene kicked in with big carp, you maybe snare one 5 or 6 pound at the end of a day. Certainly no F1s or anything like that we're obviously graced with the fantastic Bennies and very many other venues now around the country. So that got my love of fishing. It's been in and out of doing it with work. Like I said, I used to fish every weekend and fish a lot of matches on Sundays at Aitken and on Wednesdays when they're in holidays, and just really learn the basis of fishing, and just learning the simple methods of starting to learn to use a pole, how to fish a waggler properly, how to fish the bomb, how to feed using sort of chopworm and caster, the old traditional methods and the old ways of doing things that have obviously been modernised today, the classic cage feeder and things like that. And that really sparked me up. And over the years, I've dropped into the odd opens at Oaks, at Lindholme, and various other places around the Yorkshire area. I've been on sort of winter leagues and things like that with Tom's Pond, and I've also done it further afield towards sort of Birmingham way, and really enjoyed doing it. And I really do enjoy the match fishing scene. Nowadays, with only having 1 day a week to go fishing, I can't always have the pleasure of match fishing, and because of our group, and I'll go into that and what we do, I've only got limited time to create what we do. Now I know on here there's an absolute plethora of absolutely fantastic match anglers, and I always sort of look around and see what everybody's doing, and enjoy watching content that's produced by obviously the very best in the country. And that really is something great to watch. And to be honest, that the reason I started the Angling for You, and the reason that myself and Matt run it, is I feel a lot of the times not everybody knows why we do it, and people might look at it and think, oh, that's not for me, and this is not for me, and that may be the truth. The main thing about it is it's not aimed at you guys. It's not aimed at match anglers that do it week in, week out, and some of the methods may not translate to match fishing and things like that. I understand that. The reason I do it is because I love the sport, and the main key point that myself and Matt want to do is bring new products and new ways and things that are out in the industry to the forefront to show people how to get into fishing. You all see it when you're out and about, that you see someone that's got an Argos special rod with £10 line with a waggler on it, trying to fish with 2 grams worth of stuff on it, and they're getting birds' nests because it's not set up properly. We are the people that try to bring those and educate those into a way of spending the money better and getting a product that will suit them better, and they will able to catch more fish. Absolutely don't know everything. Nobody does in fishing, and if they do, they're lying. And it's a way of me feel that I can give back to the sport. My granddad used to do a lot of things, and a lot of sort of things with children, teaching them how to fish and really inspiring the next generation. And at the end of the day, these children and these people are the next generation. So if there's anything that I can do to the sport that I love, that's the reason we set up Angling for You. And we understand that it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. So when did we start? We started in 2017 with very basic editing and very basic cameras. We've now gone on to 4K cameras and 4K GoPros and a plethora of up and down and moving angles and things like that. A lot of it is shot by myself just on my own. To get the angles and to get the sort of close-ups requires a lot of moving about, so there is a lot of work that goes into these videos, and people might look and think, yeah, he's doing this and yeah, he's doing that, and I can fish it this better way and I can fish it that. I understand that, but we're trying to make it in a really simple format for people to understand, and it really does take a lot of time, and I wouldn't do it unless I really cared about it. So I did that, and I've taught myself the editing and just bringing it back. And the main thing of being on Angling for You is that it's not prejudiced to any type of fishing, whether it's carp fishing, specimen, barbel, hunting, river fishing, commercials, F1s, whatever you want. We're not bothered. Predator fishing. We try to capsulate and have people from all of those different sort of areas onto one platform, and that is just sharing fishing and engaging with that, and we learn stuff about things that we never knew, and different methods. I fished with Alan Platt last year, and he showed me fly fishing. That's something I've never done before, and if I didn't have the outlet that we do, it's something that I probably wouldn't have picked up. And it's really important to me that we make it accessible and knowledge accessible. I really enjoy sort of looking at these amazing channels like John Arthur and Joe Carassis and the Winning Ways with Andy and Jamie, and there's loads of other different channels out there, and obviously Catch More Media and things like that, which are bringing match fishing forward and innovating the ways that so people can see different venues and how venues are fished and how other people are approaching it. And I think it evens the playing fields, and I think it's great that people are willing to give that information out, because if before the YouTube sensation and before this, and a lot of guys on here, we didn't see anything. You had to go stand behind somebody if they'd let you. And obviously it was difficult to get that information and to see things up close. Nowadays, you've got a camera over someone's shoulder showing you that sort of information. So feel free to fire me, dare I say it out loud, fire me with some questions. If you feel there's anything you want to talk about, there's anything that you want to ask me about me or why I do things, or anything like that, then feel free to do that. Like I say, it's a bit different for everybody on here. I know the sort of interest won't be like there will be with a lot of the match guys that are on here. And, I've been through the match game. Would I able to compete to the standard that nowadays? No, of course I wouldn't. There's absolutely unbelievable anglers out there. Look at Oaks Lakes the other day, £555 won that. I mean, that's insane. That's just insane. And even if you're saying that it's a rammed venue, to get 8 nets and get there, over £500 worth of fish is just madness. It's absolute. It's going to take a lot of skill. Could I go into a match setting and do all right? Yeah, I'm sure I could. And is it something I want to look in the future? Maybe. Yeah, maybe I do want to get back into some form of competitive match fishing in the future. Of course I do. I enjoy the buzz of it, like you all do. The excitement, the apprehension of doing it. When it gets to a point where I feel like I'm not enjoying it, that's when I'll sort of step away from it. And I feel that can happen sometimes. My time is very precious. I put a lot into the group along with Matt, and it doesn't give me a lot of spare time with obviously 2 little children and obviously my wife and family time as well. So if anybody's got any questions, I don't know if anybody dare put any questions down there. Been interesting to see. Don't hold back. I'm not scared of any questions. If there's any pokey ones you want to ask, go for it. I'm not shy. If there's anything you want to ask about things of past, and all that kind of stuff, feel free. I'm all open to it. It's great to get on and have a little chat about my journey. We've been to Oaks Lakes today, filming shallow, sort of fishing through the water or shallow fishing for Hyde. Had a really good day on Aldous Pond. Quite a lot of people actually. I expected it to not be that busy on Aldous. It's usually the cedars, the maples that people sort of run to with the carp in, but actually quite busy around that end. Had a really good day on there, caught a lot of fish, and hopefully, I haven't checked the footage yet, but got some good footage. I've got a plethora of videos stored, around sort of 14 sort of feature ones. We've got one coming out tomorrow, which is Lindholm on Benny's, fishing the jigger. So that'd be interesting for people to pick me through, which I'm sure people do. Don't want to be teaching all you guys that know jiggers inside out, but yeah, we had a really good day on Benny's, like you'd expect at Lindholm. And then we've got one of a natural venue on Saturday, which is Bacon Factory Pond, which is sort of Sherburn and Elmet, sort of South Milford way, which is like almost like what I used to fish at Aitken when I first started, a sort of natural venue, really, really just back to old school, Tench, Ide, Bream, and the occasional carp and things like that. So yeah, really good. Do not be afraid of questions, guys. Unless I can see all the people on here. I haven't said that you can't. I don't think I've put anything that blocks questions, but no one's put one on. But yeah, I'll try and keep waffling on if you don't know who wants to ask anything. But like I said again, feel free to ask anything. There is no warning on it. Just put down what you feel, whether you think it's going to annoy me or not. Just go for it. We've all tough skin, being a chef and all that. So yeah, so fishing this year has obviously been crazy. We've all suffered the God knows how many weeks, 8 weeks or whatever it was, glued inside, and it's been dismal. Absolutely dismal. It's been great to get out. We've had some great weather when we come out as well, but it's put the fish up and down a little bit with spawning. Most venues will be nearly out of that, I would assume by now. And myself and Matt will be venturing towards rivers. Rivers are our passion. We will be out there first Tuesday for the new season. So that'll be excellent. Really looking forward to that. It's going to be a really, really good sort of year, I hope, for catching barbel and chub this year. I'm still looking for my double figure barbel. Matt is I've got some questions apparently, but I can't see any on mine. Wait a second. I'm looking for questions here, but maybe they're coming up at the other side. Just give me a second. Here we go. Let's have a look. Scrolling down, but I can't see no questions here. No, I've got no questions. I really can't. I can't see them on here. All it says is they've got people watching, but I can't see no questions, which is bizarre because they normally just pop up. Let's have a look. No, I don't really know how we're doing. No, I can't see any questions, guys, which is really bizarre. They should pop up straight away at the bottom, but they're not doing it at the moment. Yeah, which is very odd. Yeah, yeah, that is bizarre. So if anybody can just test it out by writing anything on here, I can't see anything. All I can see is people that are joining, but no questions on here, which is quite annoying. So I'm just going to keep rambling on until, for some reason, any questions pop up. But yeah, so I don't know if anybody else fishes the river or anything like that. If you're fishing a lot of matches, obviously they're back on, and I don't think it'll be too long before festivals and things like that start popping up. Certainly for later on, I know things are going to be pushed back. Fisho match, maybe match this. I know I was just watching Tommy and Andy Power, and they were saying that they won't giving any information until next week. But there's obviously some maybe match this is going to be out there. To be saying what they're going to be doing. And the qualifiers are still going on, and Golden Reel and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just really concerned as to why there is no questions coming up on my screen. I don't really understand that. Wait a second. So let's have a look here. I'm going to try and read. Right, so I'm sorry, I'm trying to look at questions at the same. I've got one that says, what size hook do I use when fishing a 6mm pellet? Depends on the deck, it was the question. Now, if I'm fishing for F1s, I tend to use an 18s hair rigger Drennan hook. I like the way that it goes in and the hook hold that it has on F1s. If I'm using a 6mm on the deck and I'm looking for more carp, then I'll probably go a 16s KKMB. I really do like the KKMB hook. I think it's really sharp, and I just have a lot of faith in it. Also, if it's on the deck with a method, then obviously it's on the deck, so it's a method, but if I'm using it on the method, then what I'll use is a MCMB, because I like the little turnover curve on the hook. I think when you're fishing on a feeder, obviously the hook in the self a lot of the time, like a bolt rig, I just feel the angle of the hook holds really well. I'm just going to be flicking to and fro because Clive's sending me the photos, so do bear with me while I look at what he's sending. What advice would I give to somebody who's joining match fishing that is doing pleasure fishing? I knew this beetroot question was going to come up. I'll answer that in a minute. So my advice is don't jump in straight away and get everything. Maybe look at either if you've got a friend or somebody that does do match fishing that you can either go sit behind and watch, get a little bit of advice. Obviously there's a plethora of videos on there from all over. Like John Arthur's got some really good ones, and obviously the Winning Ways, they do a lot of live videos. Rob Wotton, Joe Carassis, people like that. But when you do match fishing, like we do on the group, we do events that you don't have to. You just pay for the sort of getting into it, but you don't have to risk losing any money. Where the prizes are just provided by sort of sponsors and things like that, where there's no sort of worry if you lose or not. I've got my wife's phone here, so I have got some questions coming through now. For some reason there wasn't on the other one. Just give me a second. What's my biggest fish? Commercially, my biggest fish is £20 4 ounce, caught on a pole on double corn. That was at Eighton actually years and years ago. But I had one on paste last year on that £20 challenge. I don't know if anybody's seen it. And that was just near enough 19. And I had a really good carp on meat at Birkwood last year as the year before, so which was around 19. What hooks do you use when fishing banded 6mm penny? We've done that one. Do you think your beetroot approach would smash the method man and his orange ground bait? Who knows? I think beetroot. I know it's all of a bit of a laugh, and we did have a laugh with beetroot like sort of 5-6 years ago, and everyone thought we're absolutely off my mind. Probably people think I'm nuts anyway. Look, I'm a chef, so when I cook, sometimes I do think I wonder if that would work as a bait. My methodology behind beetroot is you use robin reds, you use red dyed meat, like krill powder and things like that. Beetroot does give a haze in the water, and it is a heavy bait. So I first started using it as an alternative when I was fishing like hempened meat or meat and pellet, and it gave me less foul hookers because of how it wafts up in the water. It doesn't waft as much, and I've done some really good days, and I've got another video filmed from Oaks fishing with it. I mean, orange ground bait is orange ground bait, and it's chocolate orange work. So who knows? There's no reason why that shouldn't work. Just let me keep flicking down. I've got my other phone here. What's your best approach on catching F1s on a cold and rainy day? I like using maggot or caster. Chopworm and caster is a big go-to for F1s for me in winter months. Not heavily fed, with a little bit of peat in there to create sort of a bit of a cloud as it's going down. Maybe having a little worm head or alternating that between that and a caster. I feel that when it comes to colder months, they've seen pellets all the way through the year. Usually 4s and 6s, mainly 4s, all year. So, they're wanting that natural food. It's what they expect that time of year. They expect less anglers on the bank. And I always use a natural sort of approach when it gets to that time of year. And that seems to get me the best results. Let me keep flicking. Keep the questions rolling. I've got my wife's phone here. I don't know if it's sending me anymore. I can't see anymore at the moment. For some reason, don't understand why it's not coming on my screen. But just gonna get you to come out. My wife's just gonna reload it. I'm crap when it comes to iPhones. Android all the way, guys. But for some reason my Android's letting me down here, so she's just reloading it and just see if there's more questions. Here we go. I just started fishing. Any tips? Well, just jump on a YouTube, mate. That's the best thing to do, innit? Jump on a YouTube, have a look what kind of fishing you're into, what kind of venues you're fishing, what you want to get out of it, whether you want to look at matching, want to look at pleasure fishing, and once you get what kind of fishing you want to do, just start doing your research. There's, like I said before, I started on naturals and sort of mixed fisheries, club fishing, and a lot of people start on rivers, canals. That's not always the case nowadays because there's so many commercials out there that a lot of people fish commercials pretty much, and if that's what you want to do, then that's what you should start to have a look. There is tons and tons of videos out there. Oh, someone, Clive, what's your favourite fish? Hands down, tench. If anyone's been following us lately, me and Matt have been on a mission to catch a big tench. We've not been doing too great at it, if I'm honest. It's not been going too good. We have caught tench, and I've seemed to catch them when I'm not trying to catch them, but we did catch a couple the other day, no bigger than £3 though. We have joined some local clubs where they've got some real, let's say, jungly venues where we have to do a little bit of raking and try that out. But tench for sure, very closely followed by barbel, and then probably chub. I've got a big sort of admiration for when you're fishing for a barbel. I mean, for me, I've caught a lot of fish, caught a lot of sea fish as well. Nothing pulls back like a barbel in a river. Bloody hell, I couldn't believe it when I first hooked a good barbel. Just an amazing fight. That's a little thing about us also. I did do quite a lot of sea fishing. I still try to get out. Me and Matt are going to get some trips on a cobbler, hopefully, when everything's back to normal. Like I say, my granddad used to take me on wrecking and things like that. And my first double figure cod, that definitely pulled back as well. Let's have a look. We've got some more. Love the fact that you just enjoy fishing and want to help youngsters keep it up. Oh, thank you very much for that, John. Yeah, it's my job is very orientated around teams and building teams and teaching people. I've tried to do that with all my chefing career, and it's obviously what I love to do. Exactly the same as fishing. Myself and Matt will help any sort of person that wants help, even the fact I'm lucky enough to test certain products and I get certain things to test, and I'm more than happy to give those away to people to just get them catching. I've lost the track of the many times that I've seen people on commercials or smaller ponds where I've taken the line off their reel, backed it up with some tape, and put on £6 line so then they can actually fish properly, and not risk birds nesting themselves every 2 seconds. Obviously, I thank Chris and Nigel because they help us at ProGen, obviously with the floats and terminal tackle and things like that. We do a lot of I use that in all my fishing, their floats and their sort of line for tying rigs and their schlots as well. A lot of faith in them. Great floats. There's a lot of great float makers out there at the moment. I'm sure a lot of you use a lot of them, the Malmans and all that kind of stuff. I'm lucky enough to use a ProGen, and I get on really well with those. And they've backed me a lot there. What's this? Ross Pickles. Is Ross Pickles your tutor? God, I haven't seen Ross Pickles for years. Last time I saw Ross Pickles was Tom's Pond, when he wanted to do a little bit of fishing for trout, and I tell you what, that must have been 5 years ago, maybe. I used to have another group that I'm not going to drop into, called Angling Info, and he did a little bit of fishing for that years and years ago, about 5 years ago. Must have been 5 years ago. He's a good lad, a good matchman, knows his stuff. There's a lot of good youngsters out there, and it's really good to see the people like you, Ethan Dalton's, again, top lad. We've had a bit of banter in the past, but he can fish, that's for sure. And he's got if he gets his head screwed on, he can certainly do a lot of damage, which is what you want nowadays. The youngsters to come up and sort of start showing everybody else how to do it. Keep your questions coming. I don't know. Elise, am I refreshing this right here? I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get my wife to refresh this. I'm O+ with iPhones, and not my friends. I still don't understand why it's not coming on here, but is it refreshed? So yeah, keep any questions that you want. Like I said before, feel free to don't dodge around it. If there's something you want to ask, or there's something pokey that you want to ask that you think you shouldn't, but you're still going to post it. There's a lot of times when when there's a lot of things that have been said and I can't say, you don't hear my side of stuff, so it's always good to ask those questions. Clive, have you fished any natural venues? We actually fished one last week, Lowther Lakes. and we got nothing. It was at the one. It was actually one where oh God, it's blanked me. It's blanked me. Lee Kerry fished and caught those big tench when he was fishing for bream. We, to be fair, we went. It was very, very windy, very rainy. We've never fished it before. It's a massive expanse of water, and it just needs some recceing. Really, we just need. It's there's carp up to sort of 26, I think, in there. Some big bream, big tench. It's just a different style of fishing. I've fished sort of reservoirs and things like that in the past. We do fish a little bit at Windermere when we go down there. Sometimes a little jigging for pike and things like that. And you know, I've been on brace and weight in the Lake District and thrown a cage feeder a few times. But it's this is what we're trying to do, trying to cover these. It's a different thing. I saw Ricky Richards do his feature the other day, and with I can't remember. I've just gone blank again. I can see his face, but can't say his name. And they did a big bream fishing. That's a great watch on Ricky's channel. That was a really good video for natural fishing. And obviously Lee Kerry, one of the masters of you know, really good to watch. And not a lot of people like bream, but I'm not against. I do like them. I do like. I'd like catching them. I'd certainly like to catch a double figure one. That would be for sure. But I think I'd need definite practice and definite guidance on how to cast the cannons that they cast and distance that they cast accurately. And obviously a lot of big natural waters, you got a lot of chop. It's almost like fishing on sea. You get a lot of wind in there and a lot of tow, and obviously it's deep. So I'd need a definite sort of information and fishing with somebody that knew that. And I think that's the good thing about fishing. You don't know everything. You certainly don't know all types of fishing, and there's always someone better than you. There's always someone better than you. And, you know, I know Andy made jokes about, with Jamie, about him, obviously, he's the master of you know, F1 fishing and fishing, you know, these massive matches. I mean, Andy's obviously won his fair few, but then Andy's massively knowledgeable when it comes to, like, rivers and things like that. So that's why I like fishing in general, because there's always somebody that knows better than you. And there's always somebody that can sort of give you knowledge, and that's great. What's your opinion on the anglers on the anglers keeping social distancing, and do you think it's too early for matches to go ahead? No, I don't. I think social distancing is, you know, it's going to be here for a while. I feel that's going to be prevalent for us for a long while. And I think that it's great that matches are back on. I think if they're done right, I think one person should draw for everybody, so no one puts their hands in, or it can be done electronically. There's so many calculator things out there that can do it electronically. You all stay near your cars, you get given your numbers, you go to your pegs, you step away, let whoever's doing the weigh-in does the weigh-in and brings it across and weighs in. I think if it's done like that, then, you know, there's no problem with it. Paying, you can do digital. You can do it through PayPal to one PayPal account. Then the prizes can be sent back to somebody by PayPal account. So I think that it's easily done. It's just how it's managed. And if it's managed properly and people are aware of what's going on before they get to the match, and it's talked about what's going on, then I think it's fine. And again, if it's fishery on pellets, then, you know, you should pick your pellets up and pay contactless, and just get your 2 meter distance, you know, to keep social distancing. That's what we have to do when we go. That's what we've been doing at Lindholme. That's what we've been doing at Oaks. Are there today, and you know, Candy Corner. That's the same. All the venues that I've had, you've had obviously the stripes to keep your distance, and obviously sneeze screens and things like that. it's all you can really do if you want to fish matches. I think you've just got to be sensible about it. I saw that really good sort of made keep net thing where it's a stand and you can pour the fish in. There's another option as long as the angler could, I suppose, could pick their own nets up and pour it into that, and then whoever's weighing can weigh and they can stand distance apart. As long as it's safely done and people adhere to it, then you should be fine. Yeah, it needs to happen. Match fishing. I think originally starting it, I think it wasn't a bad thing they didn't start off with it. I think it just get everybody back fishing first, get people enjoying the sport, dusting off the sort of cobwebs a little bit, and then allowing you to just enjoy that sport that you all fell in love with to start off with, and then the match fishing's of a natural progression and started it up again, which is great for the sport. Have you ever fished a match? And so, how did you get on? Oh yeah, I don't fish obviously them very often now, but I've had some great matches over the years. Like I say, I've won a lot of club matches at Eighton over the years when I was younger. I've dropped on. I do a lot of the Members' Day matches with our group, which I've obviously won a few of. I've won a couple at Fish Lakes. Just under £200 is my best at Fish Lakes. I did jump on an open a few years back at Oaks, and I were on Ash, and I did £380. It was best weight I've ever had, best match I've ever fished. I fished paced on 3 lines on the deck, obviously left, straight on, and right on, and just the fish were there, fed pellet, and they just stayed all. Well, I started 2+2 first on my centre line and brought them back, and then when they were down the edge, and I just kept them there all day. And I thought, this is amazing. I've clicked. I'd clicked. Over. Well over. 380 on the plus side. So I knew I'd done all right. And when we went to the weigh-in, I was 4th at that time, and I actually came 7th, which was absolutely insane. So I thought, obviously, I'd had best match of my life, which for me I had. That were amazing. But it's Oaks, so. I think whoever won it had like 450 or 460 or something like that. But that's fishing, innit? It's for me, that's my personal best, and whether I'll ever hit that again, I doubt it unless I fish Benny's. But certainly, I've had a lot of £100 weights and things like that on various different little opens. I've jumped on Tom's Pond and fished on their matches. Sometimes I've done crap. Sometimes I've done good. I've had a £90 on there before. I've had a few 70s and stuff like that in Winter League when you saw £100 winning it. But yeah, I would like to get back into it a little bit. But who is your favourite angler of all time? That is a tough one. That is hard. That actually, I don't know. Obviously, the TV anglers that we grew up with, I always watched Matt Hayes and Mick Brown and John Wilson. I always loved John Wilson. But proper anglers, probably Bob Nudd. I would say, or Ian Heaps. Ian Heaps first got me to go to Oaks when I saw him at the fishing show. But Bob, I've watched Bob Nudd for a long time. My first pole was a little Browning Black Magic from watching Bob, and I know there's a lot of people on here that respect Bob just as much as I do. Managed to meet him a couple of times at shows. Just a fantastic, inspirational person. I actually used to really like Jan Porter as well. Obviously, he's not with us anymore, unfortunately. But really sort of influential guys. And nowadays, obviously, like most of you, I enjoy watching the Jamie Hughes, the Andy Mays, the Andy Bennett's, the John Arthurs, the Des Ships and Joe Carassis, the people like that are the modern influences of the sport. Like I'm sure a lot of you do as well. But obviously, there's always a soft spot for John Wilson and Matt Hayes, but certainly inspirationally wise for match fishing and things like that, definitely Bob. Bob and Ian Eaps, two really good. And obviously Tommy when I got older and the learnt from the internet and things like that, and sort of seeing Tommy and sort of I'm just trying to think now. I've just gone blank. Andy Finlay as well. When we started to do the paste fishing and things like that, certainly changed my approach to our fishing paste, and I feel it's one of my strongest methods that I do now. Any more questions, guys? We've got 15 minutes or so. Feel free to drop a question in there. Don't hold back. If there's anything you want to ask, don't matter what it's about. But again, I'm just going to say thank you again to Clive for letting us join on. It's really nice to join another group. I were a bit apprehensive, I'll be honest, of coming on. We've not match fishing all the time, and I just appreciative that everyone's welcomed me onto the group with no sort of negativity, which I really respect, and thank you for that. Got another question here. What are your ambitions for the future in angling? To get more people fishing is my main goal. We want to grow our YouTube and our angling for you site, mainly to incorporate more different styles of fishing. Myself and Matt spend an awful lot of our personal time on it, and can't thank Matt enough for what he does for the group. And we want to look at trying to get more information out there, so more canal fishing, more river fishing, more predator fishing, and just bring a full package. So if somebody comes on, there's something on there. But I am a massive believer that if I aren't good or I don't know about it, then I will bring somebody on that can talk about it. Carl Shepherdson did a really good sort of bloodworm and joker piece for us quite a while back now on the Stanley Canal, because he's great at fishing it, and I don't know how to fish it. Matt obviously knows more about the barbel and the predator fishing than I do. We're looking at getting someone on that does big carp fishing, because it's not something that we do on open waters. And we will bring people to try and give more information. I really like Alan Platt did that fly fishing one for us, because I don't know how to fly fish. So it's just about giving the correct info. I think when we are influencers and we are on a channel that now ours is 6,000 strong on subscribers, and we're getting thousands of views, I feel it's important that we give as accurate information as what we possibly can, because there's people on there that know how to fish and will sort of reject what they don't need to hear because they know. But there's a lot of people that if you get the wrong hook size, or you get the wrong name of something, or you get the wrong size of something, would take it by face value. I had somebody yesterday that somebody made a joke about double 20. Now he actually luckily messaged me and said, is double 20 right for a margin kit? And I'm like, well, no, it's not. But some people, that sounds logical, that's not something that you would do. But some people will take that by face value, and I think it's really important as an influencer to give that correct information. John, you've come in for a fair bit of stick on certain people on social media, a little bit too much in my opinion. How have you learned to handle this? I'm a chef. That's all I'm going to say. Look, you are naive and very jaded if you think as a person that's on social media in any capacity, if you think you're never going to get somebody that's negative or going to take the mick or going to have a laugh at your expense, you're crazy. There's always going to be somebody that's a keyboard presser that sits at the other side and writes hateful things and tries to wind and get a bite off somebody. There's always going to be that person. So you've just got to think, how sad or jealous or bored must they be to do that and spend their time doing it, or spend their time coming onto your YouTube and putting a dislike or a bad comment. If that's what they want to do and that's what they've got in their life, then that's fair enough. I'm not bothered. I'm just genuinely not bothered. You take a lot of stick in cooking. I'm a small guy, only 5'5". So I remember the first chef I ever worked with said, "You're gonna have to stick up for yourself, and you're gonna have to go in hard like a Rottweiler, because people try and push you around because you're small." And that's what I did, and that's how I always take it. I just deflect those negativity and just think you've got to be sad to sit at the side of a keyboard. Now, I think, would they come up to your face and say it? Probably not. So I would say that in life, you just need to just push that away. A lot of the negativity around comments are usually about my abilities of fishing. They're taking that from a video that they've seen. They've never fished a day with me in my life. They don't know me as a person. They don't know what the group stands for and what we're trying to do to get people into the sport. So don't worry about them, mate. That's the best thing to do, is just don't worry about anything that people type online. Just let it flow over your head. End of the day, if I help one person with my video and they come back to me and say that's really helped me and I've caught more fish, that's it, mate. I'm not fussed. That's fine for me. It's worth the effort of filming it. It's worth the 4 hours of editing it. If somebody has enjoyed it or somebody has learnt something, that's the main thing with me with fishing. So John, good answer. As a chef, 4 kids, I know it's impossible to please every taste. Food is like music, a personal thing. Oh my God, mate, yes, you're preaching to the choir. And some things that you think are stunning, people maybe not. I'll give a very simple example. I do my scrambled eggs super silky and I work it really well so it's smooth. My wife thinks it's like sick. She can't eat it. She has to eat a thick, well-cooked scrambled egg, which I can eat, but it's grim. But she doesn't appreciate that amount of time that goes into it and what I'm actually trying to do to it. And that's just a chef in you. And that's like a lot of things in life. And look, fishing is probably the most opinionated sport on earth. There's no sport, I think, that you can do that has more of an opinion than fishing. There's so many ways to skin a cat. There's so many ways to fish that somebody is going to have their opinion. This bait's better. This hook's better. This line's better. You tie it this way better. This is the best way to fish it. That's the best way to fish it. You can't. There's no point in dragging that down. When I come to fishing, I like to think simply. When I approach matches, I try to think logically. Where are the fish going to be? What's going to happen when you sit down on your peg? Where are the fish going to go? What time of year is it? What kind of baits? I try to ask and obtain that knowledge before I go there. And that's how it goes. You've just got to, if you have a crap session, it sucks if you have a crap match. But my thing is, if you might have a crap match, but if you don't take what you've learnt from that match with you for the next one, if you fish, I don't know, peg 20 on cedar and you do crap on it, but guy next to you says, oh, if you'd have done this, this and this, you'd have won match. I did this, I tell you what, I did this on peg, I want to say 11, and it's peg 8 actually, on Top Pond in Otley, and I fished Winter League, and they put trout in it, but there's carp there. And Stu sat next to me and watched me fish the whole match, trying to catch these trout, and he said, 2 foot to your right, there's an hole. The carp sitting there at winter. If you'd have put a single corn on and fished in that hole, you'd have won match. Because everybody told you it was a flyer before, but I'd never pulled that peg and I never knew that hole were there. And it goes back on itself and in an inlet. And I never even thought of fishing it. And if I fished that, I wouldn't match. If I pull it again, guess where I'll be fishing? In that hole. But I didn't know. And it's about learning from that mistake. Paul Jones, you're a legend. Learned lots from you. Well, if that's genuine, thanks, mate, for that. It's if anything, if you obviously you know what you're doing because you're a lot of your match fishermen. If you just get a laugh out of a video or it makes you smile a little bit, even if you don't agree with stuff, then it's a win in my book. Whether you learn something or not, it's if you already know what you're doing, then you won't learn out. but it might give you a bit of information about that pond, and it might give you a smile or a laugh, especially when we do a challenge video. We're looking at doing some more challenge videos, and we really enjoy doing them. And obviously Andy and Jamie are now absolutely panning us with all their channel, with all their videos for the challenges. There's some absolutely mega ones lately. That blackjack and that naturals were absolutely class. So we need to step his game up and get some going. But we did have some in tank before this kicked off. And we're still going to try and do another 24-hour challenge like we did last time, because that were really good. Really, really enjoyed that. Right, guys, so I'm gonna wrap it up in a minute. So got 10 minutes. Bombard me with questions. Again, anything that you want to do or anything you want to post, go for it. I've enjoyed being on here, actually. I'm not bothered about the pokey. The questions, that's fine. I love it. Tony Lawson, just keep on enjoying your fishing, mate, and you're doing no harm to who's ever. Keep enjoying your fishing. Cheers, Tone. And I still need to take you up on that coming down to Bentley Lakes. I've never fished there, mate, so you need to show me how to catch on there. And yeah, obviously Tony, you're obviously one of the big match boys along with old Goose. I haven't seen Goose for a while, actually, but yeah, it's all about enjoying it. If you enjoy match fishing, enjoy match fishing. If you enjoy pleasure fishing, enjoy pleasure fishing. If you enjoy making videos, enjoy that. I saw one guy today making videos, 70-year-old. I could have pointed out 20 different things that were wrong with what he were doing, but he was making a video and he was enjoying himself. Crack on, you know what I mean? That's what it's about. I like Paul. I like your pole videos with the testing all different poles. Really made my mind up on the pole I got, which was the Tawny Pro XLS. Yeah, and we try to do as many as that. I work with Alex at Bobco when I can get in there. He does the media for Bobco Tackle, and yeah, it's helping them sell products, but it's mainly showing you what's on there, because I always say if you want a pole, you got to sit behind it. You got to say what fits one won't fit another. An XLS is no good for me because the sections are extra long. I've got short hands. Certain poles might be better balanced for me. Certain poles are lighter in general and stiffer, but some are better balanced. You got to sit on them to see which fishes. I'm a special anyway. I fish left-handed with a pole. Don't know why, because I'm right-handed for everything else. I am very ambidextrous with bats, though. It's really bizarre. And obviously, I use the rod with right hand. I don't know. But those videos, I feel, are a consumer right there. If you can't sit on it and you're in between, and a lot of times it's usually matrix and map that I get asked, which would I rather get, the MTX3 or the 50601. That's one of my biggest asked things. And, those, I just poke them towards those videos because they can see the prices, the kit, the length, the stiffness, at least as much as I can on a video without you physically picking it up. And especially with the lockdown series that we did, it's just trying to give that info in it to help you out, try and get some choice on what you're buying. But if you're like me and you try to buy everything at the moment, it's impossible to get stuff. Like everything you go online to get, it's impossible. So every time I go to a venue, like when I were at Aaron's at Lindholm over there, that's mega. If you've not watched that shop tour video, he's got a good shop down there. Just to get on and pick up some bait and stuff. I don't know how he's got all that kit in. With everybody else keeps saying they're struggling to get stuff. He's got an insane amount of stuff in that Lindholm shop. And they're doing that try before you buy as well, which is really good. So you should check that out. You can obviously sit. He's knocking two pegs on bonsai. He's blocking off to test bomb rods, feed method rods, poles, and he's got like a good set of brands as well, like to try. So definitely hit him up on Messenger. And set that up with him, because it's the right idea, that being able to actually catch a fish on the pole before you buy it is great. So guys, I've got 5 minutes, so if you get any more questions, ping them my way. It's we've got another one. How would you approach a new venue without any info on it at all? I always take natural bait, mate. If I'm going to, well, you'd have to see if it were fishery pellets first. Then you're gonna know that it's, that's a bait that's going to be fed. So that could teeter you towards what you're doing. Most of the time I start on a little method, chuck to the island, and I'll just sort of weed my way in and have a look around, see what other people are doing, see how, if there's any movement, can I see any fish topping, can I see any fish in the upper layers, what's the weather doing, the mud line and the track line, if you can reach it with your mud line with your pole, to start away, and obviously look at I always, like I say, natural baits. I take them with you, dead reds, chopworm and castor, corn. I always have corn with me, are always good, and I always bring paste. If there's going to be carp in there, then I'm always going to have paste with me, and use that. But depending on the weather, you start on a deck, usually an hard 4mm or 6mm with micras, certainly over in the mud line. And if meat's allowed, meat's always a good one to fish the track line, just on that downward slope. And I always have a bit of ground bait if you can use that for ground bait and deads down the edge, or pellets down the edge, paste as well. If it's got a carpy venue and you know what's in it, then paste 2+2, or just follow it slope down, and when it flats out, fish on that. And feed falls, just my go-to is that for later on in a match or later on in a session. I actually did this exact video. It was up Saturday, which was how do I approach a new venue, and it was Swanlands Fishery on Chestnut, and it was busy as well. So it wasn't peg for peg because of COVID, but it was near as. And we had some cracking fish, absolute cracking fish out of there. And that's what I did. I started on a little method across, dropped onto paste in afternoon, and on the track line, and then I went on to down the edge, double corn down the edge, feeding pellets. Do you have any viewed on hybrid pole elastic versus hollow? Now, I use hybrid fusion, which is ProGen elastic, and I love it. I do think it sometimes it has more stretch than I mean, stretch is great, but I've had some snaggy venues lately, and I've got 18 to 20 on there, and I don't really go for heavy elastics, but it's more like a 14 to 16 with how it stretches. So it is really good for stretch, and which is great for open water and not bumping fish. F1s especially, I really like it for F1 fishing and hide fishing shallow. But I think hollow gives you a bit more control when I'm fishing to a feature. I feel like I get a little bit more control, although for not bumping, hybrid is great for softness and stretch. I think if you're fishing a snaggy venue, it can be a little too much stretch, even if you're getting it down to top kit. Whereas hollow obviously hollow's renowned for stretch, but I feel it's a little bit more supple is the hybrid. And I feel for a snaggy venue, I'd prefer to have hollow on, which I use the dual core, the Jura hollow is really good for that. And yeah, what's that? Scott, cheers mate for sleeping signs. Must be tired, mate. If you're tired, then you need to jog on, don't you? So I'm going to wrap that up, guys, and thank you very much for more positive than I thought it was going to be a situation. I'm no doubt it'll be shared and spun around, but I'm going to thank Clive again for having me on. Really appreciate you thinking of me to put me on. Obviously, not being in the league of the people that are normally on here. And I hope everybody does well in the coming weeks on the matches and catch plenty of fish. And the guys that are going to jump on river season next week, good luck with that hunt for the big barbels. And thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I will see you soon.